Hello everyone. So today I want to presentation about my project final exam of programming language in Java language and in PHP language. So my name is Angely Loppies with NBI is 146220025, and the first is the UML diagram. I want to explain about my UML diagrams because my UML diagram is will be explained a little bit explain about my programming. So in here I have the one parent class and three uh, child class, and the parent class I have the employee for the parent class, and in employee I make the string name and string ID, and in and for the content I have the public gate name, public gate ID, public calculate salary, public print employee details, and public process payroll. And for the subclasses or child class, I have the full time. The first is full time, and I have the double housework and double hourly rate. And the content is the calculate public calculate salary, and for the second is the part-time. The part-time I have the double hours work and double hourly rate, and the content is calculate salary double bonus, and which means in the part-time we have the bonus not like the full-time. It's the same, but in the different is the in the calculate salary. And I make the interface and payroll process able, and I make the thread. And for I want to explain one by one from Java programming language. Is the first one is employee.java, and employee.java, the code you provide present an abstract class named employee in Java. Here's and the employee class has two private instance variable is name and ID, and representing the name of and ID of the employee respectively. And second, the class has the constructor employee string name string ID that initializes the sorry, and the initializes the name and ID variables with the values passed as argument. And are two getter method. It is get name and get ID, which return the employee's name and ID respectively. And next is the class declares an abstract method to calculate salary. Being abstract, it doesn't have an implementation in the employee class, so classes of employee must provide their own implementation for this method. And the print employee details. Method prints the employee's ID and name to the console, and then the payroll. This method prints a message indicating and the payroll is being processed from for the employee with a special ID. This employee class is declared with abstract, which means it cannot be instantiated directly. It serves a base class for other more specific types employee. For example, is full-time employees, part-time employees that extends the employee class and provide their own implementation for the calculate salary method. By making calculate salary abstract, the employee class enforces that any subclass must provide an implementation for this method. And the second is the full-time.java. Uh, this is the extends the employee class, and the full-time class has two private instance variables. This is housework and hourly rate. This variable represent the number of hours worked and the hourly rate of the full-time employee respectively. The class has constructor, file name, string ID, double hours work, double hourly rate. The constructor takes the employee's name, ID, hours work, and hourly rate as arguments and uses the super keyword to call the constructor of the employee class and initialize the name and ID variables. It also initializes the hours work and hourly rate variables with the provide values. Next is the full-time class overrides the calculate salary method from employee class. The calculate salary method calculates the salary for a full-time employee based on the work of hours, worked, and the hourly rate. In this case, it multiplies the hours work hourly rate and the assumed value of 4 weeks in months to determine the monthly salary by extending the employee class and providing its own implementation of the calculate salary method. The full-time class specializes the behavior of an employee for a full-time employees. And next is part-time Java that in part-time the subclass part-time, the part-time class has two private instance variables like before, like full-time Java, it is hours work and hourly rate. These variables represent the number of hours worked and the hourly rate of the part-time employee respectively. And the class has constructor part-time like same like the full-time, and then use the super keywords to call the constructor of the employee class and initialize the name and ID variables. It also initials the hours work and hourly rate variables with the provide file values. And same like before, like full-time Java for the subclass full-time, this is the calculate salary method from the employee class. But in this part-time, we calculate the salary in multiple by two because we assuming the 2 weeks in a month because this is a part-time. And to different about the part-time and full-time is the part-time class also provide an overload version of the calculate salary method that takes a bonus parameter. This method calculates the salary for a part-time employee with an additional bonus. It calls the original calculate salary methods and adds the bonus to the calculate salary by extending the employee class and providing its own implementation of the calculate salary methods. The part-time class specializes the behavior of an employee for part-time employees. It allows for calculating the salary based on hours worked and hourly rate as well as accounting for additional bonus. And next we have the payroll treat Java. The payroll treat Java that extends the treat class in Java. It is used to create a thread that can process payroll for an employee implementing the payroll process able interface. Here's an the payroll thread class has a private member variable employee of type payroll process able. This variable represents for the employee for whom the payroll will be processed. The class has constructor that takes an object implementing the payroll process able interface as parameter. This allows you to specify the employee for whom the thread will process the payroll. The run method is overridden from the thread class. This method is the entry point for the thread execution inside the run method. The process payroll method of the employee object is called to initiate the payroll processing. And by extending the treat class and overriding the run method, you can define custom behavior that will be executed when the treat is started. The purpose of this code is to provide a confined way to run the process payroll method of an employee in a separate thread by using threads you as can parallelize the payroll processing for multiple employees, improving the performance of the system. And for this is the payroll access our interface, and I use the interface in this. The, an interface in Java is collection of abstract method defines a contract that classes implement. In this case, the payroll process able interface defines a single method called process payroll like before. As I explained before, in the processor payroll method declared in the payroll process able interface does not have a body implementation. It only specifies the method signature, which includes the return type, void return in this case, and the method name process payroll. By including this interface in a class declaration, that class is required to provide an implementation of process payroll method. Any class that implements that payroll process able interface must provide its own implementation of the process payroll method, which defines how to payroll processing should be performed for that class. In summary, the the payroll processable interface surveys a blueprint for the classes that need to perform payroll processing. And then for the last is the salary Java. It's salary Java. It's for the main programming, and this so that this is to calculate and manage the employee salaries, and the program begins with the salary class, which contains main method. This is entry point of the program. Inside the main method, the program creates instance of the full-time and part-time classes, which are subclasses of the employee class. The full-time and part-time objects represent employee with different employment types. The program calls the calculate salary method on each employee object to calculate their respective salaries. The calculate salaries are stored in the variables monthly salary and part-time salary. The program then prints the monthly salary and part-time employee salary using system out println. And the print employee detail method is the call on each employee object to print their details such as name and ID. The program used a loop to iterate over the array employees, which contains both full-time and part-time employees objects. Within the loop, the process payroll method is called on each employee object, indicating that their payroll is being processed. The program attempts to write the payroll information to file name payroll.txt. Using the file writer, it iterates over the employees array and writes its employee names and salary to the file. If an exception occurs during the file writing process, an error message is displayed using system out println ln, and the exception stack trace is printed. Finally, the program closes the file writer in a finally block to ensure proper cleanup even if an exception occurs. And in summary, this program demonstrates how to calculate and manage employee salaries, print employee details, and save payroll information to a file. It showcases object-oriented concepts such as inheritance, method of reading, and exception handling. The output is generated by the given program as provide information about the employees and their salaries. Here's an explanation. Monthly salary, as you can see, this is monthly salary. This indicates that the monthly salary of the full-time employee name is named Jamie is the 4,000 dollar. The value may vary depending on the specific input, and the part-time employee salary is 600. So I'm sorry, $600. This line indicates that salary of the part-time employee named Jion Wonwo is 600. The value may vary depending on the specific input provided and employee ID, like as you can see, and for the Java file is then like you can see in this the payroll txt, and this is in the PHP programming language. This code begins with definition of the salary class here, which serves as the main class of the salary management system. It contains the static main method that serves as the entry point of the program. Inside the main method, the two employees are created: is full-time employee named Jamie and a part-time employee named Jane Woonwood. The salary for each employee is calculated using the calculate salary method, and the results are displayed using echo. The print the print inside um, the print employee details method is a call for each employee to display are their ID and the time and the name. The process payroll method is called for each employee to simulate the processing of the payroll, and the save payroll information method is a call to save the payroll information to a file name x named payroll.txt. The method opens a file fopen iterates over the employees and writes their names and salaries to the using fwrite. Finally, the file is called using fclose. After defining the salary class and abstract Um, Abstract class name employed is be defined. It contains private properties for the employee's name and ID and provides method that ratify these values. The employee class also declares an abstract method calculate salary which is meant to be implemented by the subclasses. This method calculates for the salary for an employee. The employee class provides a default implement for the print employee details method which display the employee's ID and name using echo and then process payroll method which simulates the processing of the payroll. Two subclass of employee are defined full-time employee and part-time employee. They override the calculate salary method to provide their specific salary calculation logic. The full-time employee class multiplies by the hours worked by the hourly rate and the assumes in one the for leaks like in the Java language, and the salary management main method is called at the end to start the execution of the program. Overall, this code demonstrates object-oriented principle in PHP with inheritance and polymorphism being utilized to calculate salaries and perform payroll processing for different types of employees. And the difference with the in Java language and PHP language inherits in but in PHP language I don't enter the thread the variable thread because in Java in PHP language just support the single thread, not multi-thread. So this is if I enter the multi-thread in my PHP program language, and here it is also so be the error. And the main difference between the Java code and the PHP code is the programming language used. And the syntax, the first syntax, Java and PHP have different syntax. Java uses curly braces to define code blocks, while PHP use begin and end tags can also be used in PHP, but it's not mandatory. Additionally, Java uses semicolons to terminate statement, while PHP does not require semicolon in the most cases. Second is class definition. In Java, each class is defined in a separate file with the same name as the class. In the PHP, multiple class definition can be dispersed present in a single file. Third, inheritance. Both Java and PHP support class inheritance, allowing you to create subclass that inherit properties and method form from a parent class. In the Java code, the extend keyword is used to indicate inheritance, while in PHP, the extend keyword is also used for inheritance. Fourth is abstract classes. Both Java and PHP support abstract classes, which cannot be instantiated directly, but can be used as base class for other classes. In the Java code, the abstract keyword is used to define an abstract class, while in PHP, the abstract keyword is also used for this purpose. Five is interface. The Java code includes an interface payroll processable which defines a contract for class to implement. Interface in Java are similar to abstract classes but can only contain method signature, not method implementation. PHP also supports interface, and the syntax for defining and implementing interface is similar to Java. Six is Java file handling. The Java code uses the file writer class for writing to a file and handles exception using the try catch finally block, and then PHP the fopen, fwrite, and fclose function are used for handling. Seven is printing output in Java. The system out println statement is used to print output in the console in and each PHP. The echo statement is used for printing output. And in Java, like I say before, that in Java we can make the multi-thread, but in PHP we cannot because in PHP we can also support the single thread. So this is my presentation about the Java language and PHP language about the make salary management. So thank you for to watch my presentation.